Hello, everyone. I'm joined by Bunny, who's on camera today. Hold on, they can't really see you. Wait, there we go. That's better. Let me. Hold on. Okay, technical difficulties. But anyway, so I was about to play 7 Days to Die, and then I was like, "What did the Black Panthers actually do?" That's not me trying to like sound like shitty, but like I don't know. But I was doing some googling. All right, and I hold on. Let me actually make sure that when I go over to displays that the window capture that I'm capturing is actually what I want it to be. There we go. Brave. Okay, cool. All right. So, I was trying to Google some stuff, and well, this was one of the autofill things that popped up. It said, "No, the Black Panther Party did not create the WIC program." As in, to those of you that don't know what WIC program is, it is the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children. It's a federally funded program administered by the USDA. So we were trying to figure out, like, well, where did it come from? Because what we found out was that no, the Black Panthers didn't create it. Hello, Weezy. She's lurking, but hello. So where'd it go? I just had it. I just had it. Oh my god. Did I like not center it? Hold on. I just lost it. Transform. Center on screen. Oh, wait a minute. It probably has to be in front of game capture. I don't even see it anymore, man. No? Hold on. Hold on. Transform. I don't know what's going on. Oh gosh. It's just good.
What happened?
I just can't find it anymore. Wait, 2 items? What? What are you talking about? Boy. Try hitting center on screen, nothing happens. Group? No. Fit to screen. Okay, so yeah, it was behind it. Okay, that makes sense now. Like the game was here and the window was here, so I had to like put them in the right. Anyway, okay. Just gotta make sure that people actually. Okay, yeah, you can still see it. Okay, so no, the Black Panther Party did not create the WIC program, but it was enacted by Congress in 1972. That's when WIC was enacted by Congress. As in it was an amendment to the Child Nutrition Act of 1966. While the Black Panthers did not start WIC, their Free Breakfast for Children program, launched in 1969, is widely credited with inspiring federal food assistance initiatives. The Panthers' success in feeding thousands of children exposed the inadequacies of existing government programs, prompting a wake-up call in Congress that contributed to the expansion and permanent authorization of federal school breakfast and nutrition programs. Some advocates argue the Panthers' work may have indirectly influenced the creation of WIC, but there's no evidence that the party operated a program that came by that name or directly designated the federal initiative. So, did the Black Panthers, and then the autocorrects are, did they kill anyone? Did they start the WIC program? Did they vote? Did they start the free breakfast program, the free lunch program? Did they start WIC? Did they advocate for violence or peace? I mean, that's pretty black and white, no pun intended, right?
Yes.
But I just think it's interesting how, like, did they kill anyone is the first thing that pops up. And I'm gonna look for it. Did they kill anyone? Yes, they were involved in killing, though the organization's leadership and official policy did not sanction the murder of people. Internal purge. In 1969, East Coast Black Panther members Alex Rackley was killed by his fellow party members because they suspected him of being a police or FBI informant. Historical evidence suggests he was not. It's like good old witch hunts, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, you know? Back in the day. Violent conflicts. Huey Newton killed an Oakland police officer, John Frey, in a 1967 shootout. Violent clashes between the Los Angeles chapter of the Black Panthers and the rival Black nationalist group U.S. organization resulted in the deaths of at least 4 Panthers, including leaders Bunchy Carter and John Huggins. Got it. Okay, so based off that, the LA police. Okay, hold on. Clashes between the LA chapter of the Panthers and the Black nationalist group U.S. organization. So those two groups conflicting. Got it. Many police encounters. Many Panthers are killed in confrontations with law enforcement, while the party often claimed these are justified as acts of self-defense. Investigations into major incidents, like the 1969 raid that killed Fred Hampton and Mark Clark, revealed that police fired nearly 100 shots while the Panthers fired only 1 or 2, with Hampton killed while asleep. COINTELPRO repression. The FBI's secret COINTELPRO program actively targeted the party, leading to the assassination of leaders and the imprisonment of many members, contributing to a death toll of nearly 30 Panthers during the late 60s and early 70s. So it seems like they got killed more than they were getting killed. But did the Black Panthers advocate for violence or peace? Their stance on violence was characterized by a contradiction between a militant rhetoric and defensive action. While founders Huey Newton and Bobby Seale explicitly advocated for violence as a means to achieve their political goals, stating that goals should be attained by, quote, any means necessary, end quote, and even preaching for a revolutionary war, the organization primarily focused on armed self-defense against police brutality. The reason I was even thinking about this is because of what's going on with ICE, you know, people getting arrested. That maybe they wouldn't get arrested if they had guns, but the party's literature and leaders often used violent language, with some officials like David Hilliard explicitly stating the group advocated the overthrow of the government by way of force and violence. Publicly, the group presented itself as a self-defense organization that exercises constitutional right to bear arms, to monitor, police, and protect Black communities from aggression, rather than initiating unprovoked attacks. Despite their militant image, the party is widely recognized for implementing peaceful survival programs like free breakfast for kids and free medical clinics, which serve the community directly. Historians note that while the party did not engage in widespread armed revolution or offensive violence comparable to groups like the KKK, their open carrying of firearms and aggressive rhetoric created a public reputation for violence that led to significant government repression. They advocated for the right to use violence in self-defense and use violent rhetoric to challenge the status quo, but their primary operational focus remained on community protection and social programs. They're not just going out and murdering the police, you know. Boop, boop, you know. So did the Black Panthers create health clinics? Even though I think we all know the answer to that, because it just said they did. Yes, they created the People's Free Medical Clinics, or PFMCs, in response to systemic discrimination and inadequate access to healthcare for Black and oppressed communities. The first clinics opened in 1968 in cities like Kansas City, Chicago, and Seattle. By April 1970, Chairman Bobby Seale mandated that all chapters establish their own free clinic. Priorities. At its peak, the party operated 13 clinics nationwide, including Boston, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Seattle. They were staffed by volunteer medical professionals and community members, and these clinics provided first aid, childhood vaccinations, screenings for diseases like sickle cell anemia and tuberculosis, and treatments for common illnesses. The Carolyn Downs Family Medical Center in Seattle, originally founded by Sidney Miller Free Medical Clinic by the Seattle chapter, is one of the only original 13 clinics in operation today. Oh, there we go. So they gave free breakfast to kids. I don't know why I don't just start with Black Panthers, just start from the source and work your way out from there. If they hit me with that Wakanda, I mean, come on. I put an S in there. Oh my god. The term Black Panthers primarily refers to two distinct entities, the Black Panther Party and the melanistic big cats, like leopards and jaguars. Like, really?
Not those.
Really? Like, what do you think I've been looking at for the past 5 minutes? You know what I mean? They were active between 1966 and 1982. The group emerged from dissatisfaction with nonviolent civil rights tactics, adopting Malcolm X's slogan, "Freedom by any means necessary," and Stokely Carmichael's Black Power. Initially, members patrolled black neighborhoods to monitor police activity and protect residents from brutality. They later expanded into a broader revolutionary movement advocating for armed self-defense, social programs like free breakfast, and community health clinics. The party faced intense scrutiny from the FBI's COINTELPRO program, which used infiltration and sabotage to dismantle the group. Internal conflicts, deadly shootouts, and legal challenges led to its decline, with the original party dissolving in 1982. And then talking about black cats. I never knew about COINTELPRO. Oh, I have to verify that I'm not a bot. This is an abbreviation from Counterintelligence Program. It was a series of covert and illegal projects conducted between 1956 and 1971 by the US FBI aimed at surveilling, infiltrating, discrediting, and disrupting American political parties and organizations that the FBI perceived as subversive. Groups and individuals targeted by them included feminist organizations, the Communist Party, anti-Vietnam War organizers, activists in the civil rights and Black Power movements like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Black Panther Party, student organizations like the Students for a Democratic Society, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the American Indian Movement, Chicano and Mexican American groups like the Brown Berets and the United Farm Workers. Okay, so there maybe the Brown Berets is already something that I'm thinking of. It's a Chicano paramilitary organization that emerged during the Chicano movement in the United States during the late 1960s. Because you think Black Power, you never really think about,
Yeah.
you never think about them being a part of it, the Chicano. Okay, so Chicano, or Chicana, or Chicane, with an E at the end, is the neutral form, is the ethnic identity for Mexican Americans that emerged from the Chicano movement. In the 1960s, Chicano was widely reclaimed among Hispanics in the building of a movement toward political empowerment, ethnic solidarity, and pride in being of indigenous descent, with many using the Nahuatl language or names known as indigismo. Anyway, which has roots in Mexican state-sponsored policies. Youth in barrios. You know what a barrio is?
No, I don't.
A barrio, I think it's like a Mexican neighborhood. Yes, barrio is the Spanish word for neighborhood or dependency of the city. So barrioization is a theory developed by scholars to explain the historical formation and maintenance of ethnically segregated neighborhoods of Chicanos and Latinos in the United States. The term was coined by Camarillo in his book Chicanos in a Changing Society. The process was explained in the context of Los Angeles by Griswold del Castillo in the Los Angeles Barrio. Camarillo defined the term as the formation of residentially and segregated Chicano barrios. The term is used in the field of human geography. Okay. Pueblo de Los Angeles was founded in 1781, Los Angeles, California. Scholar Richard Griswold de Castillo states that while there is no evidence that the term barrio was used prior to 1848 in California, that the adjacent village of Yanga may have been considered a barrio. The pueblo was built using labor from the local indigenous village and was completely dependent on their labor for its survival. Following the Anglo-American invasion and occupation of Los Angeles, the term barrio took on a new meaning. As early as 1872, Spanish-speaking editors were writing down the problems of the barrio, which the Angelos referred to as Soronatown. In 1860, Mexican Americans comprised 75% of the entire population of LA. The city was divided into rich and poor areas, with most recent Mexican immigrants living in poor districts, the largest of which was Soronatown. But wealthy Californios lived in richer areas and moved away from the central plaza as Soronatown expanded outward. Mexican Americans were segregated based on their limited access to property holdings and land investments in wealthier districts, which concentrated their property holdings in poor areas of the city. While a small minority of Mexican Americans gained upward mobility, they tended toward assimilation with Anglo-Americans and therefore only diluted the potential strength of Mexican Americans politically. While not all Mexican Americans sought assimilation during the 19th century, many openly accepted whites into their organizations and clubs. Today, the area of southeastern LA County is home to one of the largest and highest concentrations of Latinos in Southern California. Interesting. We're going down the rabbit hole. So the Brown Berets. David Sanchez and Carlos Montes co-founded the group modeled after the Black Panther Party. The Brown Berets was part of the Third World Liberation Front. It worked for educational reform, farm workers' rights, and against police brutality in the Vietnam War. It sought to separate the American Southwest from the control of the U.S. government. It got dissolved too. Dude, 5 years. It lasted 5 years. And what happened? The same thing that happened to the Black Panther Party. Sons of bitches. COINTELPRO can suck it. I just see brown berets and I'm like, boom, there it is. That's the thing I was looking. I knew I was going to get there eventually, you know? It turns out that 1967, I was a little late. 30 years.
Just a little.
30 years late. Well, 50. I mean, more than that. Almost 60. In 1966, a group of high school students discussed issues affecting Mexican Americans as part of an annual Chicano student conference in Los Angeles County. Vicky Castro, Moctezuma Esparza, Jorge Licon, Rachel Ochoa, Jean Ortiz, and David Sanchez attended the conference. The students continued meeting after the conference. Later that year, they formed the Young Citizens for Community Action and worked to support Dr. Julian Nava's campaign as a Los Angeles Unified School District Board member candidate in 1967. Nava became the first Mexican American to serve on the school board. Sanchez and Esparza learned about social action at a class taught by Reverend John B. Luce at the Church of Epiphany in Lincoln Heights with the Community Service Organization. In 1967, Young Citizens for Community Action changed its name to Young Chicanos for Community Action, or YCCA. That same year, Reverend Luce helped Sanchez and the YCCA secure a grant to open La Pirana Coffee House in a former warehouse on Olympic Boulevard. La Pirana Coffee House became the headquarters of the YCCA. There, Sanchez sponsored activist speakers, including H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, Corky Gonzalez, and Reyes Tijerina. Because it became a popular place for young Chicanos to socialize and organize, sheriff deputies began arbitrarily stopping people coming in and going from the coffee house. In one instance, the deputies raided it illegally and arrested people for violating curfews.
That's crazy.
Isn't it? In September 1967, Sal Castro, a Korean War veteran and teacher at Lincoln High School, began meeting with YCCA at La Pirana Coffee House. I'm going to change the name of my stream title, because we're not really talking about what did the Black Panthers do anymore. Who were the Brown Berets? Update. Another thing that I had no idea existed and it's all because of Whitey, you know?
Mhm.
Why would they want me to know? It's a shame because I spent 6 years in grad school trying to learn about this stuff, and it's like, all you had to do is learn about CoinPro, and then you learn about all the things they fucked over. Native Americans, you know how many Native American women go missing every year?
A lot.
A lot. And that's kind of not a specific number,
No,
but
it's not specific, but
how many Native American women are missing? Go missing every year. Oh, we're sterilized. That's another thing we can look at. That was an autofill. We're sterilized.
it's terrible.
More than 5,700 Native American women are reported missing in the U.S. each year. 5,700 women. In 2024, the FBI reported 10,248 missing Indigenous persons, of which 5,614 were women. Advocates note that these numbers are likely underreported
Probably.
due to jurisdictional complexities and lack of comprehensive federal databases tracking these cases. What are you gonna fucking microchip them? You know?
If they could, I bet they would.
Jeez, that's the next thing. I mean, God. The YCCA's initial focus was on public school issues impacting for Chicanos, from dated textbooks to a lack of Mexican cafeteria options. The group assumed a paramilitary dress and brown berets like Che Guevara. And Che Guevara was an Argentine Marxist revolutionary author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, politician, and military theorist, and a major figure of the Cuban Revolution. He's basically a symbol of countercultural symbol of rebellion and global insignia. So like rebellion, you think Che Guevara. So they started dressing like him. As a result, the organization gained the name Brown Berets. But the Brown Berets did not have any official requirement to join, but unofficially, members had to be Chicano men or women, and members are mostly in their teens and early 20s. Here's a picture.
Very nice.
Chicanismo was the primary ideology of the Brown Berets. One member recalled, "We were a group of young Chicano revolutionaries from the barrios of the Southwest fighting for the self-determination of our people. Their focus was on school inequality and police brutality, but expanded to include the Vietnam War and the lack of political representation, healthcare, and jobs for Chicanos." The Brown Berets chose the motto to serve, observe, and protect. The motto reflected the LAPD's to protect and serve, and indicated that the Berets believed they were, or should have been, the police of the community. By 1969, the Brown Berets was a national organization with chapters in California, Colorado, Minnesota, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Texas, and Washington. Brown Beret chapters were in 28 cities, primarily in California, but also in Albuquerque, Denver, Detroit, El Paso, Milwaukee, Salt Lake City, San Antonio, St. Louis, St. Paul, and Seattle, all before the internet. Damn. Law enforcement's perception was that Brown Berets was a violent or subversive organization. Representatives from the LAPD and the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department and the United States Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms infiltrated every aspect of the Brown Berets. In addition, the FBI closely monitored the Brown Berets' activities. A modern historian notes these individuals and departments did not just act as intelligence agents, but as agent provocateurs as well. They created the situations that were used to discredit the Brown Berets and drive rifts between members. By 1972, internal conflicts and ongoing issues with law enforcement had weakened the Brown Berets. On November 1st, 1972, the Brown Berets' Prime Minister, David Sanchez, announced the organization's disbandment, chiefly to avoid strife in the Chicano movement and factional violence. At the time, there were 36 chapters, mostly in college and university campuses. Near college and university campuses. Oh, here's a couple of ladies getting arrested. In California, the Brown Berets were involved in marches, anti-war protests, and student walkouts. The group published the newspaper La Causa, which included articles on national Brown Beret causes like the United Farm Workers and the New Mexico land grant movement under Reyes Tijerina. The Brown Berets protested killings and abuses perpetuated by the East Los Angeles Sheriff's Station in its community. On November 24th, 1967, the group held its first protest against police brutality in response to the Santoya family's treatment by the police after a complaint for disturbing the peace. Here's an article. To protect and to serve the effects of the relationship between the Brown Berets and law enforcement. That's chunky. The LA Brown Berets opened the East Los Angeles Free Clinic, or Barrio Free Clinic, in May 1969. They provided health services and a pharmacy staffed by volunteer nurses and doctors who were mostly white. It was open in the evenings, providing access for working people. The Barrio Free Clinic helped elevate the community's impression of the Brown Berets, helping them see beyond the paramilitary uniforms. Brown Beret Gloria Areneles became the clinic's director. She recalled, "The clinic became my passion because it really addressed a real need in the community."
What's that picture?
Women in the movement. Taken to the streets. One of the internal problems for the Brown Berets was sexism toward the women of the movement, arising from a culture of machismo. You know what machismo is?
I don't know what machismo is.
Machismo. Okay. Machismo.
Machismo.
Like queso. Cheese. Yeah. Machismo. It's from the Spanish macho, which is man, and ismo. It's the sense of being manly and self-reliant, a concept associated with a strong sense of masculine pride, traditional masculinity. It's a term originating in the early 1940s and 50s, and its use became more widespread in the 60s. While the term is associated with a man's responsibility to provide for, protect, and defend his family, machismo is strongly and consistently associated with dominance, aggression, grandstanding, and an inability to nurture.
Jeez.
Machismo is found to be deeply rooted in family dynamics and a hyper-masculinity in Latin America that makes it prone to toxic masculinity. The word macho has a long history in Spain and Portugal, including the Spanish and Portuguese languages. Macho in Portuguese and Spanish is a strictly masculine term. It derived from the Latin masculus, which means male. It was originally associated with the ideal societal role men were expected to play in their communities, mostly Iberian language-speaking societies and countries. Do you know where Iberia is?
I don't know where Iberia is.
Spain. It's just Spain.
Just in Spain.
Morocco. That peninsula. Iberia. Anyway. Ser macho, literally to be a macho, was an aspiration for all boys. As history shows, men were often in powerful and dominating roles and portrayed the stereotype of the macho man. Think about in Coco. You know, macho. Thus, the origin of machismo serves as an illustration of past history, the struggles of colonial Latin America faced, and the evolution of gender stereotypes with time. Depictions of machismo vary, but their characteristics are quite familiar. Machismo is based on biological, historical, cultural, and psychosocial and interpersonal traits or behaviors. Posturing, assuming a certain, often unusual, exaggerated body posture or attitude. The macho must settle all differences, verbal or physical, challenges or disagreements with violence as opposed to diplomacy. Treating their wife as a display of an aloof lord protector. Women are loving, men conquer. Bravado, outrageous boasting and overconfidence. Social dominance, a socio-culturally defined dominance, macho swagger. Sexual prowess, being sexually assertive. Now we're getting into like a... I don't like it, you know? Shyness is a collective issue for men. Because I guess shyness is like meek. Like, weak, you know? Protecting one's honor or pride, believing in the ego in spite of potential risk. La calle, the street, is a man's place where men work and show off their masculinity. Hardworking, being able to provide through hard work and labor, often taking tough and demanding jobs. and a willingness to face danger. Professionals from several universities in the US developed a model around this hypothesis with 6 behavioral patterns. 1. Restrictive emotionally. Restraining yourself from expressing your feelings or not allowing others to express their feelings. Twofer, you know? Homophobia. The fear of homosexuals or the fear of being a homosexual. Remember that we talked about that dude? All those dudes who murdered that one girl?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, girl, whatever. Fuck, that was crazy. But that's literally right there. Because they didn't want to be perceived as gay.
Yes.
Socialized control, power, and competition. The desire for the authority of being in charge of the situation, commanding others, and to excel above others. Restrictive sexual and affectional behavior, showing little or no affection or sexuality to others. Obsession with achievement and success, having an ongoing complex that accomplishment, work, and industriousness constitutes one's value. I feel that one, you know? Just the whole obsession with, like, I need to feel. Even now, I came on here to play video games. What am I doing? You know what I mean? Because I feel like this would be more productive. Like, I feel like people would actually, like, be tuned in and listening and stuff. Oh, hey, it's Bryn. You should edit the page and add Randy Savage as one of the examples. I should. Machismo. Oh, yeah, macho man, yeah. Where's my macho man sound effect? Hold on.
It should be on there.
It should be on there. How am I? How am I? Let's see if it plays.
I'm the tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
That's how I'm doing, Bryn. My back hurts, you know, so I came on here to take some time off. Although I could blame sitting in the chair, but let's be honest, I sit in the chair for like an hour and a half, tops, you know. But thank you for the Plato's Closet suggestion, because we took it in there, and they were like, well, we're not taking winter stuff, we're looking for spring and summer stuff. So we're like, fuck. So we just went to Goodwill. We walked in there with the stuff, and they're like, you gotta go around back. And they're like, ah, cool. Wheezy says hi too. To Bryn. But, I mean, she already said hi to us, so anyway. Excuse me. Excuse me. Anyway. So we went to Goodwill and dropped off that, as well as some other things. We have like a bag of stuff to drop off at T-Mobile, like a router and like a modem or whatever. Old stuff when you had shit internet. Good old robot voice. At least I can understand you now. You know?
Yeah, not all robotic now.
Oh god. And then after we went to Goodwill, where'd we go? U-Haul or Art Gallery? We went to U-Haul, didn't we? Before we went there, we went to the food pantry. That was the first place we went yesterday. Dropped off some mashed potatoes, some instant mashed potatoes. I'm supposed to be doing homework, but I'm professionally procrastinating. Brenda, I will put you in timeout so you can do your homework. Don't make me. I'm a teacher. Don't make me pull that card. Because you're like the only person typing in the chat. And that's not me digging on Wheezy, because Wheezy's working too. They gotta lurk, you know? So like, you gotta do what you gotta do, but I'm also gonna be kind of like, I really came on here trying to, like, I have 7 days to die open, dude. Like, it's literally been open for like half an hour, and I've just been sitting here learning about the Black Panthers, learning about the Brown Berets, learning about how many Native American women go missing every year, and how the FBI dicked everyone over. So, good times. Good times we're having. You know, you come on here to escape, and it's like, you know, you like learning while working. Well, good, you know, like, see, there you go. There's my value, you know? Like, I feel, what's the value in me playing a video game? It's just indulgent for me. Like, I don't know. But that's the whole point, to take a break, you know? I have to write an essay and a speech, but I have writer's block on both of them. You need help writing a speech? I'm your guy, man. I'm a public speaking professor. What's your guy? Is it like a narrative? Is it like an informative? Is it a persuasive? If it's the beginning of the semester, I would think it would not be a persuasive. But I'm locked in, Bryn. I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it. I really need to pull up that transparent chat thing so I don't have to keep pulling up this window. Because I keep having to like flip back and forth between the two.
Welcome to the life of when I
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, okay, so the last thing about machismo, health problems. An unhealthy diet, stress levels, and lifestyle. So, like, when it comes to machismo, you have all 6 of these things. The model was developed around the idea that these 6 patterns are all influenced by men's fear of femininity. It was then partially supported by a study done by 5 professionals. Evidence suggests that gender roles and gender role conflicts inflicted by machismo lead males who were raised with this mentality or live in a society which machismo is prevalent to suffer high levels of anxiety and low self-esteem. Additionally, studies found that many males facing such conflicts are subject to experience anger, depression, and substance abuse. Well, there we go. Additionally, the idea that the idea of the male ego, where the male is symbolized as the hypermasculine, virile, strong, paternalistic, sexually dominant, and the financial provider, is reinforced by the teachings of the Catholic Church. Good old Catholicism. Leave it to them. The main religion practiced in Cuba and Latin America in general. According to the cultural Catholic Church teachings, the female should be a virgin. But it's less important for the male to be one.
Less important?
Less important. Like, who cares? Do you know how that works, you know? In order for a man to not be a virgin, he has to... It's informative. The block on that one...
Oh. Jesus.
The block on that one is mostly because my brain is just focused on the essay. That's true. When you have options, you know? How long does the informative speech have to be? Is that your concern? Like, I feel like the block is coming from some type of procrastination. Because one of my students gave a speech on that. Dude, imagine if I was a shitty professor and I'm like, hey, you want one of my old student speeches? I got one laying around here. You know what I mean? They didn't give a shit. I wouldn't give you a bad one. I could show them a good one. I do have videos of like, but I don't know how it's supposed to be like format. I would think it'd all be the same, but you know. During colonial times, a female's chastity and demureness were linked to the family's societal standings, when the males were expected and sometimes pressured into proving their sexual prowess by having multiple partners. What the fuck? No. There was a duality in the expression of love. Men were supposed to express between physical loves, while women were expected to only express spiritual and romantic love. So men are, but you're not supposed. That's so fucking weird, dude. What?
Don't ask me.
I just. Even after marriage, carnal love was frowned upon. What the hell's carnal love? The libido, or sex drive, refers to a psychological energy that, in common parlance, encompasses all forms of sexual desire, but it is sometimes regarded as the driving force behind other needs, such as a mother's love for her infant. The term is developed by the Austrian... Anyway. If the woman expressed it too vigorously, instead she was more delighted by the romantic expression of the love. Bryn says, it's how the monsters we create in the film mirror current events we are worried about. I'm doing a classification of the different Godzilla-verse monsters and what each signifies. Huh. Well, sounds like you get a pretty good handle on it, you know? Like you got a lot to talk about.
Also, your screen just shows 7 days today.
Oh, does it still? Thank you.
I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking.
It's fine. Get over it, you know?
No, I'm polite. I will wait.
You're polite? Is that why you're going to let them just watch my screen for 5 minutes instead of saying something? See, I can twist it. I can, you know, I can be like, that's not polite, you know?
Well, they could have said something too.
Right. I'm just in the outline phase, so I need to find the weak spot in the dam to get the thoughts flowing. I mean, you can just stream of consciousness that bitch, you know? And then you can sort of like, it's like dumping all the puzzle pieces out onto the table, and then you can start sorting through. Like, put this part where you talk about similar things together, so it's all clumped together, you know? But then, like, you'll have too much as opposed to not enough. But, then you'll just have a big flood of words, and then you have to organize them. Now you're making me want to play Timberborn. Jeez, Brend. Talking about the dam blowing, you know. Okay. Men and women in these belief systems are held at double standards. Women are quiet, clean, spiritual, pure, and sexually conservative, but it's socially acceptable for men to be the opposite, loud, dirty, not religious, and sexually active and assertive. The role of inside and outside spaces like la casa, the house, and la calle, the street, are crucial in propagating machista beliefs. This is because it separates men and women into two completely different worlds and social spheres. I did free writing for a few hours last night, which is why my brain is blocked right now. Information overload. You have to like sift through it. I get you. I see. Oh man, I'm so tempted to tell you to just do like an AI overview, you know, and it'll sort of break it down into things, but, you know, don't do that. Marianismo. The power difference in the relationship between men and women in Latin America not only creates the social norm of machismo, but the consequence of its female counterpart. Marianismo, a concept supported and promoted by women in which the idea that women are meant to be pure and wholesome. It defines standards for the female gender role in Hispanic American folk cultures, and it's strictly intertwined with machismo and Roman Catholicism. Marianismo revolves around the veneration for feminine virtues like interpersonal harmony, inner strength, self-sacrifice, family, chastity, and morality among Hispanic and Latino women. More ideals regarding the female gender role are held within Marianismo in Hispanic American culture include those of feminine passivity, sexual purity, and self-silencing. Self-censorship is the act of censoring or classifying your own discourse, typically out of the fear of deference or the perceived preferences, sensibilities, or infallibility of others, and often without overt external pressure. Evelyn Stevens, political scientist, states, it teaches that women are semi-divine, morally superior to, and spiritually stronger than men. Marianismo derives its origins from the Spanish colonization of the Americas, as many social constructs from Latin America do. It emphasizes the perfect femininity of a woman and her virginity. The Virgin Mary is the ideal female figure, representing characteristics like semi-divinity, moral superiority, and spiritual strengths, all of which are expected from women under machismo and Marianismo. The man is the head of the household, while the, quote, fragile woman is submissive and tends to remain behind the scenes. This brings to focus the idea that women are inferior to men, are dependent on their husbands. As a result, they not only rely on their husbands for financial support, but in the social realm, they are put at the same level as children under 12, mentally ill persons, and spendthrifts. What's a spendthrift?
I've never heard that before. A spendthrift?
People who spend money extravagantly and recklessly.
So people who buy lots of Amazon packages.
Right, just the opposite of cheap. By way of tradition, not only are women given limited opportunities in what they're able to do and to be, but they're also viewed as people that cannot even take care of themselves. Getting married provides a woman with security under her husband's success, but also entails a lifelong commitment towards serving her husband and her children. And Brent says, yeah, it's all there, but the compiling of information into usable facts is where I'm at. Basically, try to divert a river into a quarter-inch pipe and not gradually. You'll get there. Just try to think, like, is this relevant? You know, and if it's relevant, you can sort of, like, reorganize it into a different spot. Like, the first thing you can go through is just be like, is this really relevant to my speech? Because you could just record yourself talking through all of it and be like, God damn, that's 10 minutes. That's too much. And then you can trim it down from there.